those are all really important things, and those are the things that actually protect your spirit.
That's right.
They
That's
nurture
right.
your spirit. They give you that natural endorphin rise because they make you happy.
That's right. In our current world of technology, we need to be able to slow down. All this technology doesn't necessarily give us more time. It seems like we fast track through a lot of things a lot of time, and I'm just as much to blame. I'll fast track through some things also, but we need to be able to just slow down and appreciate. And it is, smell the roses means so much. Just take the time to smell the little things in life. And it just, the whole physiological behind that, just, you slow down, you calm down. And it has such a benefit to your overall health in doing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to look at those sorts of things. You need to have adequate water, which means at least 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. And the best water to have is a fresh spring water. Spring water tends to be a little bit more alkaline, or a reverse osmosis. And if you can do reverse osmosis, then you need to add lemon to it to help make it more alkaline.
It's a little bit tart when you start drinking it, but it's every night now. I really like my hot lemon. So.
Well, and it's good because it actually it stimulates the liver. In Chinese medicine, that's an association with fire. And when the liver is out of order, or when there's anger or stress, or whatever, they refer to it as liver fire rising. So when you want to clean the furnace out and get the sludge out of it, then your hot water and your lemon is really beneficial. As is the deep breathing that Tammy had mentioned. Deep breathing. Get your diaphragm expanding and contracting. Push your tummy out. Look at the way a baby breathes. You see that little tummy come up and
That's
down.
right.
We breathe way too shallow as adults, and a third of our lungs ends up being stale carbon dioxide. We need to get that fresh oxygen in there. So, oxygenate your body. Get enough water to hydrate your tissues. Also, it will help for those who have had chemotherapy and radiation. It does help to flush it out of your body. You need to have adequate amounts of sleep, and that's usually for women 8 hours. And I hear women say to me, "But I don't need 8 hours. I can get by on 5." Well, think about that phrase. I can get by on. That's all you're doing, which means you're running on fumes. So you need to set a time when you go to bed, and it's okay every now and then to stay up beyond that. We're not regimented. But you need to set a time that is good for you, and at least an hour before midnight and down into the early hours of the morning is good, because in order for our body rhythms to work, we need to produce sufficient melatonin. And melatonin is produced between 1 and 3 in the morning. And as we age, our pineal gland, which produces the melatonin, tends to atrophy, and as it atrophies, it produces less. So it makes it difficult for us to sleep, and sometimes that's why women, in our 40s and 50s, toss turn. So, getting adequate sleep is good. If you look at foods, you can look at foods. If you can't afford supplementation of melatonin, you can look at foods that actually help your body to make that.
And there's just very basics food. I mean, you can eat to what's indigenous in your own area. I mean, the wintertime, carrots, root vegetables.
Yeah. Soups and
broths.
broths.
I mean, just some of the old basic foods. It's not going to cost a whole lot more to stay healthy if you eat foods that are natural to your environment. And although it doesn't
and
mind,
season.
Yeah, and a bit of chocolate is good too. Preferably dark chocolate.
Yeah, definitely dark chocolate. Please make it have 60 to 70% cocoa in it. We need to have those properties in order. It's a great antioxidant in moderation, and that seems to be
That's
the key.
Moderation.
People today, unfortunately, I'm sure many people have seen Michael McDonald's. Is it? I can't remember. Michael Moore, pardon me. His Super Size Me.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. And that's just so not great. People want to pile on their plates, and if you look at the size of a plate from 1960s, which looked like a tea plate, as opposed to the dinner plates now that allow you to put 4 times the size of food on it. That's why we do have.
Well, it's because they look
obesity.
good, but that doesn't mean we need to fill them. But
No.
it's a mindset. I think we get into these mindsets, and it is a whole environmental marketing.
Mhm.
You see it, we do it, but when you look at other cultures in Europe, I mean,
Small portions.
they're small portions. They have a very wide variety of what they eat, and you think they're eating very wonderful foods, and why aren't they getting ill? And why? I mean, that's not they don't have illnesses, but
They
They're
have fewer.
relatively healthy. The Mediterranean diet, for one, very simplistic, very easy to follow, but it's their portion. It really is their portion. And plus the fact that they seem to have a enjoyment of life.
Yeah, they all go to
c'est
sleep
la
in the
vie.
afternoon, which I like. That's
Siesta.
that siesta. Yeah, I like that afternoon nap. Well, they have a better outlook on things in that regard. I believe in knowing that you need to have some balance in your life. And yes, having a glass of red wine is heart healthy. You don't need to have the entire bottle or even half of it, but a glass.
That's right.
Does help with your digestion, absolutely. And Tammy was talking about eating things that are locally grown. That's very important because we are exposed to things in our environment locally, like pollen and things of that nature, and our bodies are used to working with those sorts of things. So if you follow a seasonal pattern, what's in season in your area at any given time? If you look at Dr. Carr's program and you look at a seasonal way of eating, it makes great sense. I know a lot of people are very much onto the raw food diet, don't have anything above 118 degrees, etc. Destroys the enzymes in the foods, and that's wonderful if you live in California. But we live in a cold, damp environment.
That's right.
That lasts for a good 6 months, seems like forever sometimes, of the year. And for us, that's not really feasible, so we need to have more of the hot things like the soups and whatnot. So if you want to parboil your vegetables and make your broth and have them too, that sort of thing. Keep your body in a state of heat so that you can burn and metabolize better. That's a better idea. And then go raw in the summer, when you can do your salads.
That's right, your fresh salads and veggies and fruits. And
you can be more vegetarian oriented, and there has been much to do about people who grill and the fact that it can create problems with carcinogens and things of that nature. So, we find other methods with which to prepare our foods. And, there's lots of things open to us and, lots of fun programs on TV that I seem to see when I'm on the treadmill at the gym, and I think, oh my gosh, where's my notebook? I'm going to write down that recipe. But there's lots of ways to live and eat and sleep and work healthy. We need to have balance. So you need to have a balance of work and play and sleep and those sorts of things.
And I think you hit a key, Gail, when you said balance. It's just finding that balance in everybody's life, and everybody's different. So it doesn't always have to be the same. And I mean, for someone to say, and we have it in our society today, oh, here's the number one, whatever the latest is, everybody has to do it, or the latest diet, the latest fad. You have to find what works best for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We often find too, people want to jump onto the bandwagon for these types of fad things, but if we just stopped and we looked at things that apply to us, it goes back to moderation, back to balance. If we had smaller portions, if half your plate was vegetables and a quarter was starch and a quarter was your protein, that's kind of a reasonable sort of loose thing to look at when you're looking at diet. If you look at the supplementations, it depends. What do I need to be healthy? Well, for the average person, maybe you need vitamin D, a good probiotic for your digestion to keep some good bacteria in your body, and a good multi. If you're a cancer patient, it's a little bit different. If you've had cancer, oftentimes your vitamin D levels are remarkably low, so you would need a greater supplementation of vitamin D. Vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, is something that is often very low in people who've had cancer, so you may need a boost to that. You also may need something like NAC, which is acetylcysteine, and it is a precursor in the liver to glutathione, and glutathione is sort of the creator of life. So, there may be a few extra things that would be wise for people to supplement with, and I'm sure that your naturopath or your alternative and complementary health care practitioner can help you out with that. So,